Greetings everyone, thanks for joining me. I want to tell you today about how I've been able to motivate my students and keep them active in their English learning outside of the classroom. It's called Engrade, and today we're going to go over a workshop, all of the things you find in here today. You can actually access these at youtube.com at Jesse. To begin with, first we're going to talk about LMS systems. So almost every LMS system comes packaged with the same types of things. Basically, you have tools to manage your site and also grade books that are connected to them to control your students' data. Connected to that are usually reporting systems that allow you to export and save the data, also print out student data, and also a means to collaborate with your students, whether it's through email, discussions, forums, and things of that nature. Also, newly developed LMS systems are giving us a new way to connect with our students with different modes of technology. This is good for Japan because LMSs are able to kind of fill the void for us and help us blend our traditional learning with our classroom teaching. And letting us exchange ideas and content with our students and then monitor their progress and help them learn. So in this day and age, I think a lot of teachers around the world are looking to extend their classes with some sort of technology. Whether it's email or just finding some way to give students feedbacks about their grades, gauge their productivity, it's important. I think a lot of teachers are familiar with Moodle and often use this at their universities. So schools often offer this as an open source alternative. Also, Sakai is based in Japan, and it does something very similar. But not all of us are this lucky. I travel between 3 or 4 different schools, and not all my schools have these systems. So it's really hard for me to keep in contact with my students outside of the class. Actually, maybe it's not just outside of the class, but I'm sure you've all seen this site before. Unfortunately, they don't actually make an app for this, so just getting back to LMS systems, there are a number of free or paid sites out there, Edmodo being one. Edmodo is really good because it's similar to Twitter and Facebook, where you have the ability to embed multiple different types of Web.2 tools into your site, and you can manage everything through a gradebook, similar to a lot of learning management systems. EDU 2.0, it's been around for a long time. Its UI is a little bit cumbersome. But I mean, it has all the tools you really need to do the job. It just takes some getting used to. English Central is another one that's newly been developed. English Central basically allows users and companies to upload videos and then transcribe them and create vocabulary learning, speaking, and listening activities. I'm actually using this one this semester. To be honest, one of the drawbacks of this system is you can only use your students can only use 2 videos per month. Then they have to pay, and the price is quite hefty. Ning, actually, I wrote a research paper about this last year. It just got published in August at Call Journal. If you want to check it out, you can look at their website. Basically, Ning's kind of like a Facebook build-your-own social network system, has all the bells and whistles. Unfortunately, Ning went paid about a year ago. I think the most basic plan is something like 10 yen per month now, and the prices go up depending on what types of things you want to have access over. But today we're going to talk about Engrade. Engrade focuses a lot on the gradebook. It doesn't have all the benefits of all the LMSs that I listed before, but what it does lack in functionality, it actually makes up for in simplicity and reliability. So today I'm going to start with an overview about Engrade, and then we're going to look at some of the limitations of Engrade and potential pitfalls. Then we're going to take a quick overview of the research I conducted with my students at Meiji Gakuin and following. If you have any questions, you can actually ask me. Hopefully there's enough time. We'll look at how to administer Engrade's site, and then afterwards there will be another chance for a Q&A. So let's begin. I think often a lot of students feel very isolated and maybe confused when first approached with a new technologies. So it's always very important for the user interface to be as simplistic as possible. It needs to be able to be accessible with many devices, especially in Japan where students are using their PDAs as their basis of communication. And as a teacher, we want to be able to keep in contact with our students via email and even be able to monitor their progress. This is actually, Engrade's really good because it's good for teachers on the go because you can access multiple courses from the same area. And it's actually made for K through 12 in America, so if your students say they can't use it, there's something wrong because a kindergartner can use it. So there are 12 reasons, and there's a lot of reasons why teachers love Engrade. And we're going to start from the bottom up today and talk about all of the added benefits. To begin with, it's a 24/7 access by both student and teacher. You can print reports and monitor their access at any time. It's private and secure. Only you and your student have access to the grades. If you work at a high school or a middle school or something like that, you can give codes to parents, and parents can actually monitor their son or daughter's grades. What's great is a price tag like this, and to be honest, Engrade has announced that they'll never go to a paid service, so you can be relaxed knowing that you're using a system that'll always be free. So here are all the basic tools basically that you can use with Engrade. During this section, I'm not going to talk about wikis and flashcards. They do have some limitations, and we'll talk about them in the second section. And I'm going to bounce around a little bit, so please bear with me as I go through all these different topics. To begin with, I'm going to talk about attendance. Attendance is great, but it's not directly connected to the gradebook, which means when you're exporting data, you're actually, it's separate from the gradebook. I often use the attendance if I'm not giving grades for the attendance in the class. Basically, you can use letters or numbers, and they go straight down, and you can move back and forth by week. Also, be careful, this is set in the US, so it automatically sets you one day back. Don't make a mistake. You can click on each student's name. You can actually monitor their access and see how many times they've been absent or late individually. And you can print a whole class's totals, or you can just create individual totals for each student and print those off. The gradebooks are the backbone of the system, and there's two different views to the gradebook. One view is the student's view. This is what the students see. It's basically just a roll of all the assignments they've been given, and it's organized by date. It's a breakdown of their scores, and you can separate these into categories when you create the class. I often number them, that way it's easier for the students to see which ones that they're accessing. This is the teacher's view. The user interface is really easy to use, and basically you just enter the data right in just like it's a Excel spreadsheet. If you click on the student's name, you can see what they see. Up here you have some options. Through the options you can do things like send the whole entire class emails, or you can just plainly edit all of the categories or the grading and weighting preferences for your class. You can also print out different things, grades. Often you can print out progress reports and give them to students in the middle of the semester, which is really nice. Making assignments for your students to do is just as easy a push of a button. Once you push that button, you just name the type of assignment it is, give it points, and add a due date. Again, watch out for the due date. It's always set back one day, so if you make it for today, make it for tomorrow because it's set in American time. You can also choose the category that you're going to assign it to. Then you can attach some files if you'd like. The problem is you can only attach one file at a time, so if you want to attach a lot of files, I suggest uploading a zip file. You can put your description of the homework here. One note, you can't actually put in hyperlinks, so any link you put in, your students are going to have to copy and paste somewhere else, and you can't embed anything in this area. These are the default settings for each homework assignment. They basically are set every single time. The one on the bottom, turn-ins, is not set. I often like to set this one, and I'll show you why in a minute. Let's look at it now. So basically when you're in the turn-ins area, you actually have the ability, if you click one of the assignments, to assign the points and the comments at the same time. And this is really advantageous because you can't do this in the gradebook mode. Also, you have the option to open the turn-ins. Now, you only want to open this if you want the students to submit documents to you, otherwise it'll be left open. The reason I like turn-ins is because I don't have to bounce back and forth when I'm trying to give comments later on homework assignments. The homework calendar is nice and it's default set every time you put an assignment in. Basically, it helps students keep track of all of their things that they need to do. And if you're a proactive teacher, you can create the whole entire curriculum and the students know what they have to do week by week. Another advantage is if you post a discussion, actually it'll show the students how many people have responded to that discussion. And sometimes maybe that can motivate them into going ahead and making a post. Another thing that's nice, a great tool, is quizzes. And quizzes are great for assessment, and they're automatically graded. There's two ways to make quizzes. You can either create a new quiz or you can use an old quiz. I often create ones from new and then reuse them later. Basically, you just put in the name, set a time limit. I suggest randomizing the order so students don't try to copy or cheat off of each other. You just add questions, as many as you want to add, and then you just post them in here. The question goes in the top, choose the correct answer, assign some points, and again, I suggest randomizing the questions. When you're done, the questions look something like this. Now, one problem with quizzes is you can only do multiple choice, so you have to get a little bit creative. For example, I have fill in the blanks here. Maybe you could do other things like choose the right answer, choose the wrong answer, choose the sentence with the mistake, definitions, maybe similarities and opposites and things like that. So there are some options. You just have to think a little deeper to make more interesting quizzes. In the options, you can actually take a demo of the quiz and you can try it out, and you can also control the constraints. I usually take a look at the quiz after I finish, make sure all my answers are correct, take it. If you ever need to go back, there's a little button at the bottom that lets you go back and edit your questions. Now, messaging is a huge part and a great part of the system, and it allows you to deal with student problems very, very quickly. It also notifies you right away when students send you an email because of the email you register with Engrade when you sign up. All students have to do, this is the student view obviously, is click your name, and it brings them directly to a mailbox, and then they type something away and send it to you. You have all the tools similar to any other mailing system or SNS system, and you'll receive a student's email letting you know that they can't do their homework or something like that. So here basically Cody's telling me she's having problems doing homework 4 and she's asking what I should do. She obviously wrote Japanese as well and probably translated some of this. I just write back to her, homework 4, what are you talking about? We're doing homework 5 this week, and I'm able to solve a problem very quickly that could have stopped this student from completing her homework and getting discouraged.